I am not Tim Pool. I am confused, somewhat. American conservatives should be terrified. I'm talking, wow. If you're a conservative, you should be terrified. But I'm guessing you're probably not. And if you are, you're terrified about some nonsense that perhaps another beanie wearing person, some nonsense that they've told you. The reason that American conservatives are not terrified as they should be, even though they're the ones that are being fed the rhetoric that they are destroying this country, you got to take the country back, our country is being destroyed. Very, very harsh and brutal illustrations of what's happening in this country, right? That narrative works on them, but yet in this moment, when there's something to be very terrified of, they're asleep, right? They always talk about the woke this and woke that. Well, this is what happens when you're not woke, when you're asleep. A major terror that threatens you and the country is screaming towards you, and you're like this, right? Well, I'm here to wokeify you and open your eyes. So what should you be terrified about? So a lot of online influencers have been telling you how scary the Democrats are, right? Whatever the Republicans are accused of, they're saying, I know you are, but what am I? Pee Wee Herman, that's the right-wing response. Whatever they're being accused of, they claim, no, you're the fascist. Right. But let me go along with that. If you honestly believe that the Democrats are a major threat, I'm no fan of the Democrats. They're corrupt, they're inept, not impressed. Regardless, if you are terrified of the Democrats, you think they're gonna turn this into a communist country and they're gonna take away your guns, and if that's what you think the Democrats represent, right? And you're generally fearful of that, as you should be, right? As it's illustrated, if we believe the narrative, right? So not just the facts, forget about what those words mean. Focus on the narrative being promoted. So the people who say that the Democrats are scary communists, the things they describe are not what the Democrats actually are or represent, right? They use this word, attach it to the Democrats, and then they paint this sort of fantasy that is generally terrifying. And if you believe in this narrative, and if you're terrified of this narrative, again, as you should be, then you should be very terrified about what's happening right now. But yet, I don't hear anyone in the right talking about this or worrying about this, or there's any focus about this. There's no fear about this. Let's combine two details. On one hand, you have the Democrats and the left that are going to take your guns away, and they're fascists, and they don't care about freedom, and they're going to destroy this country. That's on one hand, right? On the other hand, you have Donald Trump himself, the leading Republican candidate, potentially opening wide the door that allows the Democrats to be unleashed. All your biggest fears. Donald Trump is the one. Like, let's illustrate the Democrats as an evil dragon in a cave, right? And there's a big, strong titanium gate that's keeping this dragon inside, right? And people are fear mongering and telling you this dragon is gonna be the Democrat dragon is gonna eat all of us, eat your children, and you're so terrified. Meanwhile, it is Donald Trump who has his hand on this gate, about to open it potentially and release the kraken. But yet, for some reason, the right wing is not terrified. They don't seem to care. What am I talking about? Donald Trump is currently making an argument in court that he has presidential immunity, right? He has presidential immunity. So essentially, he's arguing that an American president can do whatever they want to do, right? You can't try an American president. You can't go after them for crimes. I don't know what the context is, maybe crimes while they're in office, whatever the context. He is arguing that there is a scenario where an American president is essentially above the law, right? This argument is the titanium gate that's keeping the Democrat dragon in its cave. And Donald Trump is arguing to rip that gate open. Let me further illustrate. If Donald Trump successfully goes to court and argues that an American president is essentially above the law, right? Forget about your beliefs about whether he committed crimes or didn't commit crimes. This is separate from that. The argument is being made of this presidential immunity. They want to present this argument to the Supreme Court, who has the ability to make it so, number one, right? So, if Donald Trump is able to successfully make this argument, that will mean going forward officially, by precedent, an American president will be above the law. What happens when a Democrat president wins? I said, what happens when a Democrat president wins? If you're so terrified of the Democrats, so terrified of communism and the country being destroyed by the left, the radical left, and they're woke this, and they're going to come and take your guns, and they're pro-crime, and every street in America is just going to become, illegal immigrants everywhere, and people coming in and raping your daughters and your wives, and you won't be able to defend yourself because you have no guns, and they're going to take away your money and take away your property rights, and you will own nothing, and you will love it. If you're truly afraid of that, and you think it's the Democrats who will bring that, then why on earth are you so comfortable with Donald Trump trying to argue that presidents are above the law so that a Democrat president can win, right? And if you believe the election was stolen before, then you must believe that can happen again. You believe in a deep state, you believe they stole the election, then you think there's anything the Republicans can do to stop the Democrats from stealing another election? If you really believe they stole it, this inept party pulled off the greatest scheme of the century, you really believe that, then are you foolish enough to think that these same Democrats, seeing that the presidential immunity thing successfully argued, that do you honestly believe, like if you believe all the other stuff, then wouldn't you believe that the Democrats would immediately spring into action and steal another election, supposedly? Because if a president is above the law, they no longer have to pretend anymore, right? All the stuff that you're afraid of, the Democrats doing, they could just do it all. No need for theater. No need to, pretend, right? Governor Newsom or some other corrupt Democrat could simply, steal an election, become president, and then just go nuts, right? Let's modify the Constitution. Let's take away the First Amendment. I, President Newsom, officially decree that the United States is now a communist country. Isn't that what you guys are supposedly afraid of? What could stop? Oh, First Amendment. You believe the same clowns who didn't fire a single shot on January 6th when they thought that the election was being stolen, those same clowns, like this is they trained for decades. They trained for this for decades. They got all these guns together. They got all these people together, and they didn't fire a single shot. They allowed, supposedly, the presidency to be stolen. You think those people, they're going to rise up and they're going to put a stop to it, right? That's what you believe? The Democrats are so scary. They're going to ruin the country. But yet all it takes is a few, I think I mixed up my amendments. It's a few Second Amendment people with their rifles to shut it down. How else do you think is going to happen? Either the Democrats are the way you present them as, who stole this election, so therefore they're not inept, and there is a deep state and all this stuff. If that stuff is true, then once you grant this presidential immunity, the Democrats would definitely steal another election, get in power, and just do whatever. In fact, the very thing they're claiming you guys are going to do, that's what they would do. In other words, there would never be another election, right? If a president is above the law, right, and they're so power hungry and they're, Pizzagate, whatever it is you believe, right? Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein, right? For all that being true, do you really think that the Democrats are not going to immediately take the election and immediately declare this country a communist country, suspend all future elections, and just stay in power forever? Then they'll come and take your guns. They'll put you guys in camps. They'll declare all of you guys as terrorists, right? And then they're going to take your children away and use them as sex slaves, right? We're gonna have a trans vice president, right? Just for spite, they're gonna force all of the conservatives to be managed by trans people, right? Whatever, any conservative companies are gonna go into the red states and they're gonna appoint as managers, as governors, a bunch of trans people. They're gonna burn all the churches, right? What do you think's gonna happen if they grant presidential immunity? That's why American politics is all theater, it's all fake, it's all, oh, my tribe says this and my tribe says that. If you guys generally believe the nonsense that you say, then you'd be so terrified. You'd be so upset with Donald Trump for pushing things to this level where there's an opportunity that we may live in a country where presidents have immunity, right? Instead of all being caught up in your tribe and Trump's our guy, so we're going to defend him and we're going to just, whatever he does, it's okay, right? It's all fake news, blah, 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 right? If you guys were really serious, you guys would be very angry with Donald Trump, very angry with the Republicans, right? And you would be terrified right now because we're headed down a path where the Democrats will have all the power in the world to do every single thing that you supposedly are afraid of. Or at least you've been told to be afraid of, and you comply. You 100% comply. Whatever it is that the elites at the top and these millionaire influencers want you to be afraid of, it completely mirrors what I hear from the people. Right? I don't see much of a deviation at all. They put this stuff in your face. This is, socialism. And then you guys eat it all up. Right? You're on the same page. I don't see the elites saying one thing and you guys saying something else. No, the elites put this plate of food in front of you and you guys just eat it all up. Right? So because of that, there's this disconnect. Something that should terrify you, you care nothing about. A Democrat president with presidential immunity, able to do whatever the hell he wants to do, and there's nothing you or I or anyone can do anything about. I think that makes sense. Those are my thoughts on that. Good to see you, Danny. Sure, I have no love for the Democrats, but people who really support and believe in Republicans must be brainwashed and really stupid. Would even say there's serious mental health issues in the U.S. There's absolutely serious mental health issues in the U.S. But it's not just conservatives. It's not just the right wing. I see it on the left. I see it on the right. I see it across the board. I see it in the wealthy, in the poor. It's been my view for a very long time that we, human beings, we are a broken species. Not trying to suggest that is necessarily unique in any way. I don't spend a lot of time evaluating the brokenness or whatever of other animals. I focus on my own species. So it may very well be that this brokenness is natural. That's just how it works. Product of nature, perhaps. But regardless, I definitely see that human beings are a broken species. We have broken brains. It's just a matter of how broken each individual is, right? Some more than others. But we are a very bizarre species. I mean, destroying our own habitat, just all the nonsense, man. The hate, unnecessary hate, and the tribalism, brain fog. I would even go as far as to say some of the most broken people in this country are the most political. What does that say about me? I'm very political. Well, I've never excluded myself from the group of the broken species. I am human, and I've definitely seen a lot of my flaws, and as logical as I can be, I can also be very illogical, right? It's the human experience. What can you say? All right, Danny, good to see you, man. Have a great day. TGIF. And to my conservative audience, be afraid. Be very afraid of this presidential immunity battle. Because if it goes your way, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. Look beyond. Consider what comes next. Escape your tribe. Unplug. Think for yourself. Be woke.